Housing costs are still out of reach. And another thing that your administration is trying to tackle, many Americans, the average age of first-time homebuyers are now up to age 40, which is sad. The country you and I grew up in.
I inherited that. Look, you have to understand.
Right, but let me get to the question, though, because your housing director has proposed something that has enraged your MAGA friends.
So the bottom line is this, like, if you think this is going to help affordability, think about it from supply and demand, right? You're driving up the demand. What happens when you drive up the demand, leaving the supply as is?
Houses get more expensive.
Things get more expensive.
I am a mortgage loan originator. I'm going to make a fortune off of this. If we did a multi-generational 500-year loan, your payment would be $950 and we would be getting paid $5,300,000 in interest. We are not going to be here. Deal. Now I know how my parents felt to have a mortgage payment under $1,000.
So apparently we're just casually now adding 20 years to mortgage loans like it's a normal Tuesday afternoon. TikTok is having a absolute meltdown over this 50-year mortgage situation. And people are calling it the worst housing policy in decades.
Housing costs are still out of reach. And another thing that your administration is trying to tackle, many Americans, the average age of first-time homebuyers are now up to age 40, which is sad. The country you and I grew up in.
I inherited that. Look, you have to understand.
Right, but let me get to the question, though, because your housing director has proposed something that has enraged your MAGA friends, which is this 50-year mortgage idea. So a significant MAGA backlash, calling it a giveaway to the banks and simply prolonging the time it would take for Americans to own a home outright. Is that really a good idea?
It's not even a big deal. I mean, you know, you go from 40 to 50 years, and what it means is you pay something less from 30. That some people had a 40, and then now they have a 50. All it means is you pay less per month. You pay it over a longer period of time. It's not like a big factor. It might help a little bit. But the problem was that Biden did this. He increased the interest rates. And I have a lousy Fed person who's going to be gone in a few months, fortunately. I have a guy too late. You know, Jerome Powell, we call him too late. He was too late in everything, except when it came to before the, the so-called Democrat election, which didn't work. But we're going to get interest rates down. But even with interest rates up, the economy is the strongest it's ever been. You know, you asked me, just to go back to the beginning of your question, you talked about prices. We're down on energy. We're down on interest rate. You know, interest rates are down despite the Fed. Now, if we had a normal person at the Fed, would have really low interest rates.
Okay, so this is just, there's a lot going on here. So good on her for telling the president to back off, because he loves to dominate conversations. That's Trump's, Trump card is dominating a conversation. So good for her. He's like, some people had 30, 40-year mortgages. Dude. No one had a 40-year mortgage. What are you even talking about? He doesn't even know what's going on at all. And then the last thing, poor Jerome. Jerome is like, apparently he's gonna get cut, as we're finding out, as he probably watched this Fox News segment and is like, so I guess my job isn't safe, which no one should expect their job to be safe. We have learned that no American really should expect that their job is safe. The only person that maybe has a safe job is Donald Trump himself. He's so out of touch with reality. Literally, who the fuck has 40-year mortgages? Maybe he got that option, you know, being maybe in cahoots with bankers or something like that. But I don't think that was ever an option, nor should it be an option. As you'll see coming up, this is going to have serious consequences.
In an attempt to make home buying more affordable, President Trump floated the idea of a 50-year mortgage in social media posts. In response, FHFA Director Bill Pulte, who oversees Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, posted that they are, quote, working on it and that it would be, quote, a complete game changer. Now, the purpose of a longer-term mortgage would be to lower the monthly payment for homeowners. The longer the term of the loan, the smaller the principal needed each month to pay it off in full. Now, using the latest median sale price of a home from September, that's $415,200, according to the Realtors, and the current interest rate of about 6.3%, according to Mortgage News Daily, on a 30-year fixed loan with a 20% down payment, the monthly payment of just principal and interest would be $2,056. If you raise the length to 50 years at the same interest rate, that payment would be $1,823, and that's a savings of $233 per month.
$233 per month savings. You would think that would be something really good. And there's going to be a lot of redundant clips that I'm going to play here, but I really want to drive home that saving $233 a month or whatever you would be saving on your mortgage, it is not going to be worth getting a 50-year mortgage.
Homeowners, however, would not build equity as quickly because their principal payments would be smaller, and the amount of interest paid to lenders would be 40% higher. Now, the real question, though, is can Fannie and Freddie do this? Analysts say it is possible, but a 50-year mortgage does not currently meet the definition of a qualified mortgage under the Dodd-Frank Act, which provides investors with a backup from Fannie and Freddie if the loan should go bad. But regulators were given the authority to change that in order to ensure mortgage affordability. That, however, could take up to a year, according to Jarrett Seberg of TD Cowen. Seberg notes that we still just really need more housing because without more, home prices will continue to be inflated no matter what the mortgage rate is.
Save $200 a month and pay the bank double in interest. Insanity. A game changer for bank profits. I think a 100-year mortgage would be even better. Could you imagine? Multi-generational mortgage? I mean, we are living longer. There are centurions. I think that's what they're called, centurions out there. But do you really want to be, I don't know, in your hundreds and still paying for your house when you should be enjoying your retirement?
This morning, new backlash as the Trump administration moves forward with a plan to introduce 50-year mortgages.
It looks to be like the president's looking for a quick fix to a market that is fundamentally broken right now.
Over the weekend, Trump sharing this image comparing the proposal to the 30-year mortgage policies championed by FDR nearly a century ago. The move could potentially kickstart the now stagnant real estate market. Homes are currently seeing the lowest turnover rate in 30 years, and the median age of first-time homebuyers just hit an all-time high of 40 years old.
The median age is 40 years old. With a 50-year mortgage? I know I was joking about centurions in the last one, but you're pretty close at 90 years old. Oh, I finally paid off my mortgage. Are you f***ing kidding me? Ah, yes. Can't wait to pay off my mortgage at the ripe age of 90. We call that rent. So yeah, basically you're renting for the next 50 years.
We have some big news right now. Donald Trump is comparing himself to President Roosevelt, and now the White House and the administration are working on creating a 50-year mortgage. I'm serious. In a new Truth Social post, Trump put out a graphic. It said great American presidents. On the left was President Roosevelt, and underneath it said 30, or above it said 30-year mortgage. Then on the right, it was Donald Trump, and above it said 50-year mortgage. Now, Bill Pulte from the Trump administration has announced, quote, thanks to President Trump, we are indeed working on the 50-year mortgage, a complete game changer. Here's the issue. A 50-year mortgage would just compound interest on a loan that's already being taken out. And doesn't actually solve the problem that many Americans can't afford to purchase a home because of the down payment. And ultimately, the people that will benefit the most are the lenders, the banks.
Great news. We actually have a 50-year mortgage option now.
Okay. And how much is that going to save me per month?
Let me check. Wow, this is actually going to save you $275 per month. That's huge.
All right. And how much more interest am I going to be paying over the course of the loan?
Great question. I love where your head's at. Let me just do the math real quick. Roughly $475,000.
Thought so. How old will I even be by the time I get done paying this off?
Another great question. Let me just do the math because you'll probably have to refinance like 7 or 8 or 13 times. So you will be approximately 127 years old.
Yeah, I'm just not sure that it's worth it.
I get that. Okay. But if it's any consolation, most of your loved ones are going to be dead by the time you're done paying this off anyway. So you won't even have anyone to enjoy a house with.
Are you serious? No, that's not a consolation at all. I don't think you know what consolations are.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Well, here's another way of thinking about it. We're all probably going to be robots in 50 years anyway, so this is all pretty much moot.
Actually, weirdly, that is a little bit of a consolation.
I can't afford that payment. Is there any way you can put more money down? I can barely do the 5%. Right. If it wasn't for all these companies buying up houses and driving up prices, then us homebuyers wouldn't have to compete with corporations that turn thousands of homes into rental homes. Excuse me, I think I can help you with your problem. How? We're now offering a 50-year mortgage. Since when? Which means your payment would drop about $200. But over the 50 years, the customer would pay an extra $500,000 in interest. You'd be in debt your whole life. I think you're onto something. Really? Yeah, but instead of 50, can we do a 100-year mortgage? What? That would drop my payment even more, right? Let me calculate that real quick. You can't be serious, are you? That would drop your payment an extra $100. So you'd be paying $2,000 a month. And we'd be getting paid $2 million in interest. That's still too high. Thank you guys anyway, though. Wait, what if we did a multi-generational 500-year loan? Your payment would be $950. And we would be getting paid $5,300,000 in interest. We are not going to be here. Deal. Now I know how my parents felt to have a mortgage payment under $1,000.
Multi-generational loan? Deal. My partner had a vasectomy and I'm infertile. There will never be another generation. So renting is better than buying now. 50 years. Why not make it 1,500 years? Let's go get these house payments down. I'm talking $2 a month. Those banks are going to be swimming in those interest payments. I hate it here. This is pro banks versus pro people. I mean, I'm so tired. Aren't you guys tired? I just want someone to have our best interest at heart that's like actually empowered. There's a lot of people, you watching this probably have the best interest for the people. You're just not in the government. You have no power. Yeah, I hate it here. I hate it here.
Something about the potential to have a 50-year mortgage.
The 50-year mortgage thing?
Yeah, what do you think about that? Okay.
First things first, here's my thoughts on that. What do we have? We have a housing problem, right? There's really only one reason for this housing problem: supply and demand. We just don't have enough housing. We have a shortage. Very simple. So trying to say that, hey, I'm going to stretch your payment out to make things affordable, I don't think solves that problem. It doesn't bring about additional supply of homes. And number two,
can I argue that it would even make it worse because you have more people in the market to buy them? So more demand.
Yeah, exactly. You're very good. Now you learn economics.
Yes.
Supply and demand. You are basically messing around with the demand side of the supply and demand curves, right? You're attacking the demand side, not the supply.
We need to fix the supply.
Yeah, and here's your problem with 50-year mortgage, right? Okay. Your mortgage, LO, right? You know this, right?
I am a mortgage.
15, okay, what's the pricing of a 15-year? How different is a 15-year mortgage from a 30-year mortgage?
A lot different.
Right? So imagine a 50-year mortgage and a 30-year mortgage. Interest rates are going to be higher, number
expensive.
one. Number two, right? It's going to be much longer for people to gain their equity, to build their equity, because what happens in a mortgage, right? All the interest is front-end loaded. So you're going to keep making your payments and payments and payments, and your principal is going to go very, very little portion of your interest, remember?
And I have a story about this, right? So back, I think in 2020, around pandemic time, we had lower interest rates. So my dad had already paid his mortgage. He had a 30-year mortgage, right? Because we didn't have that predatory 50-year mortgage. Again, I'm going to keep hitting you with videos on how it's predatory and how it's not a good situation for you at home. And he went and got his mortgage refinanced. So now all the interest he paid off, he's gonna have to pay it again. So like in that skit in the last video, like, please don't refinance unless it really is in your best interest. Thankfully, he locked in like a 2.whatever%, but he had paid off a good chunk of interest, right, is what I'm trying to tell you. These banks do not care about you at all. Do you think anyone was gonna say like, oh, hey, you bought this house back in like 2005, you're refinancing like 20 years later. It really doesn't make sense for you to do this. No, they're not going to do that for you. Most people aren't going to do that in the best interest of you, only themselves. People, especially in our country, operate on what's best for themselves and not for others. And it's really sad. It is really sad.
Mortgage interest is always front-end loaded on a consistent payment stream of a fixed mortgage over that period of time of the amortization, right? So people are going to take longer for them to pay their equity down, right? To me, if you ask me, and ironically, I am on this side of the fence. I'm a banker. This is good for bankers and lenders. Right. It's just another tool for them to make more money, right? So the bottom line is this: like, if you think this is going to help affordability, think about it from supply and demand, right? You're driving up the demand. What happens when you drive up the demand, leaving the supply as is?
Houses get more expensive.
Things get more expensive.
And this is coming from a banker himself. He's like, this is so stupid. He's going to make money. This should make him overjoyed if it goes through, right? And goes from that proposed to an approved state. He's going to make money from this, and he still thinks it's bad. Let's hear another opinion from someone who stands to benefit from 50-year mortgages. Again, benefits from this.
50-year mortgages. That's their solution to the home affordability crisis. I want to be crystal clear about something. I am a mortgage loan originator, mortgage broker, however you want to call it, mortgage banker, whatever colloquially. There's a difference between those things, but for all y'all watching this, it doesn't fucking matter. Whatever term you've heard, I'm that guy. I'm going to make a fortune off of this, which is great for me because over the last few years, when the shit's been fucking terrible for everyone trying to buy a home, it's been awful for me because it's commission only. So once again, crystal clear. I'm going to do well because this is happening, and I don't think this should happen. This is fucking insane. Their solution to the home affordability crisis, as opposed to finding a way to stymie the fucking meteoric rise of home prices, or to cap fucking interest rates on companies like mine, let's fucking face it, instead of doing those things, they're like, oh, well, let's just have all the kids take out more debt over a longer period of time. A 30-year mortgage was already kind of laughable. Like, every time I write one, I talk to the people like, 30 years, they're like, man, you're not going to be in this mortgage for 30 years. You're going to refinance, you're going to sell, you're going to do a bunch of things. But like, 50 actually implies the impossibility of ever actually owning your home. And don't even get me started that if you ever reach that milestone of paying off your home and owning your home, the property taxes are still there and they keep going up and up and up until one day when you reach that milestone, your elderly ass still gets booted out onto the street because you don't own fucking shit. This fucking government and these fucking corporations that own the fucking government have got to be fucking reined in. It's insane.
And that's another thing. People will complain like, oh, I locked in a low interest rate on my mortgage, but I owe way more this year than last year. Well, it's because there's a multitude of factors that go into actually owning a home. It's not just the mortgage, mind you. Property tax are a huge factor, and they will always keep rising because the government always assumes that your home, and they assess it, just increase the value of your home, whether or not the value actually really did increase, okay? That's not buying, that's renting, but the bank is your landlord and doesn't fix anything. Another thing, at least the landlord is supposed to fix stuff. The banks don't give a shit. They'll just repossess, take your house back if you can't make payments. They don't care if you're homeless. You know how many homeless people there are on the street? You probably haven't even noticed some of the homeless people on the street because, you know, like, society does not care about homeless people. What makes you think they'll care about you if you ever become homeless? I'm serious. What makes you think they will care if you are homeless? For a $500,000 house at 5% over 50 years versus 30 is only $400 cheaper a month, but $400K more paid in interest. Do you really want to pay an extra house payment to the bank? Like, no, you don't. I always thought like 15 versus 30, like that was a crazy difference. I mean, it's basically the same thing, only a 20-year difference, not a 15-year jump. 50-year for a home that won't even last 50 years. Have you seen some of these new home builds? I know you have. Some of these new home builds will definitely not last 50 years because they're made from the worst, cheapest material. They're not made from those beautiful, big, did they make redwoods or cedars? I don't know what you make homes from, but I know we used to have big trees and now we had to replant those trees and they're smaller trees, newer trees, because we took the trees down due to deforestation. Where you feel on the pendulum of, giving a crap about the environment, I don't care, but it's kind of a fact that we don't have all of those beautiful trees that used to make our sturdy, century homes, okay? Like, look at the homes that are in, the suburbs, okay, outside of your city, near you, in those developments. Are they good homes? Do you honestly see it lasting 50 years without you making a lot of maintenance efforts?
If any one of my clients came to me and said that they're gonna use the 50-year mortgage, I'm not putting my name on that and I'm walking away from you. That is the most, you might as well just throw your money away in that situation. The 10-year difference on that and just interest alone and equity wouldn't add up. Any person that has any basic knowledge, sorry, my freaking seatbelt. Any person that has basic knowledge knows that shit doesn't add up to any person in the world with common sense. The same amount of time in 10 years that you get a property on a 50-year mortgage versus a 30-year, I mean, you're looking at a difference of, having $15,000 versus 40. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, this problem that we have here is a lot deeper than the lending. Only people that are smiling and happy at this, that if people bite on it, are the banks.
Really, it's only the banks. It is only the banks. They'd be better off signing up for a Ponzi scheme. Now, I don't know if you're better off signing up for a Ponzi scheme, but you're better off just steady renting. I don't know what else to tell you. Just steady renting.
Hey, so a 50-year mortgage is a horrible idea, and I'm gonna tell you why. You should know this. So the 30-year mortgage, it wasn't always the norm. It was actually created back during the Great Depression as a way for Americans to be able to afford to buy homes without drowning in debt. Because before that, mortgages were like 5 years old. So you had to have like hella money to be able to buy any kind of property. So when it comes to 30-year mortgage, I have a 30-year mortgage now. I'm 32 years old. My house will be paid off in my early 60s, which is before I retire, if everything goes well. So a 30-year mortgage is freaking reasonable. But let me tell you why a 50-year mortgage is stupid. Mind you, I'm not being political at all. This is literally just math. See, Japan already tried to do this. Back in the 80s, Japan's economy was doing real bad. Kind of like another huge empire might be doing now. Yeah, housing prices exploded. The banks exploded in Japan at the time. So they decided, hey, let's do 50-year mortgages. Or, I don't know, 100-year mortgages that your kids inherit when you die.
Congratulations, I have no family heirlooms to leave you. Let me just go ahead and leave you my debt.
The idea is that the home costs will keep rising year after year after year and eventually be worth a ton. But that's not necessarily freaking true, dude. Because see, what happened in Japan is their economy crashed. So all these houses that people had these 50, 100-year mortgages on dropped in value, so they were underwater on all of those loans. People literally went bankrupt for houses that their grandparents owned. So a 50-year mortgage isn't affordable housing. A 50-year mortgage is basically giving the bank your freaking bloodline.
So I get what she's saying with, the Japan example, but just to be clear, children do not inherit parents' debt unless, of course, your name is on that debt, okay? Just to be clear. But I get what she's saying. Obviously, you're not going to be able to inherit that house without inheriting that debt. It's just not a great situation all around. So what do you guys think? Are you going to be the first in line for that 50-year mortgage? Are you ready to save, $200 a month on rent or something when your property taxes are just going to go up anyway and then probably make that difference and then some? But yeah, let me know your thoughts. If you enjoyed videos like this, please subscribe.